And like I said, I hope everybody had an awesome weekend. I had a weekend of gluttony. I don't know what was with me this weekend, man. I was like just eating, So it was just kind of like crazy for me this weekend. But I was just like on this thing where I'm just like eating and just, it was just a little too much, just a little too much. So I'm just setting up the uh, screens and whatnot so I can share my screen with you guys. So, how's everybody doing? As I just said a moment ago, hopefully you're doing well. So, um, somebody's making a little bit of extra noise. If you might want to mute your phone or something because it's like a lot of extra noise in the background, so not a good look. Um, okay, so this call is going to be about we're changing our flow, right? So our last series was on moving mountains, and so we had a couple of different people come on talk about how they're moving mountains in their personal life, in their business, to get to where they want to be. And that's important. So now this next kind of direction that we're going to go in, I mean, they all are interrelated. They are all absolutely interrelated. And but it's being a contrarian. And so there was a long time ago, I bought this guy's course, and it was on trading basically. But what he did was he was a commodities trader. And the thing I learned about being a contrarian is you are a person that moves opposite, right, to the rest of the people out there. So commonly referred to as sheeple, right? So and that was where his success lied. So he was literally go in the opposite direction. And so what I learned, I don't know how long ago I bought that course. Let's call it 25 years ago or something. And it was really interesting, because what the guy would do is when you bought his course, he would send you these charts, and these charts are charting back 20 years, 30 years, whatever, just really old charts, and up to current times. And then he would teach you about the dips, about they call them different things, but basically where you would buy is where everybody else was selling, because everything was going bad. So people would go, oh my God, I'm gonna lose everything, and I'm just gonna be done. But what he was explaining is that you don't buy anywhere but at the bottom. That's the only time you buy. So it doesn't matter if something is skyrocketing up. It doesn't matter. That's not for you. And obviously this is what this guy was teaching. So he would say, that's not for you. Leave the stuff alone where everybody's jumping on and going, pork bellies are going through the roof. You got to buy pork bellies. You got to buy gas futures. You got to buy oil. You got to buy, whatever it might be, bananas, or, you pick it. And he was like, none of that should matter to you. It doesn't matter how high it's going to go up, what's happening with it. None of that should matter to you. The only time that you should buy is when it's in the dumps, when there's a fire sale. That's it. And that's how he became, very wealthy. After doing a whole bunch of businesses, because he kind of tells you the story, and he would basically just say that he tried dozens and dozens of different businesses until he had read this guy's book named Robert Warren, and Robert Warren was such a bad dude that the Federal Trade Commission and the FBI used to come over to his house because when the guy was living, which was, back in the day, right? Because they just knew that he was doing some cheating because of his principles in buying, right? And all he would always say, according to this other guy that I bought his course, is that his principles are to move different. And that scared the government. He would just, move different than everybody else. He would move different than the marketplace. And so if you look around you and you see people that are successful, one of the things that you're going to see, one of the greatest qualities of people that are successful is that they move differently than everybody else. They move in the opposite direction. So it's, if everybody is, saying that they are going to do, I don't know, one thing or another, everyone wants to go and buy, I don't know, or buy a business, buy someone else's brand, then they're the people that are out. No, I'm going to create my own brand, right? I'm going to go my own direction. I mean, and you look at all these people that have had massive amounts of success. What is it that made them different? And the difference is that they were moving contrary to the rest of the crowd. They were moving in a different direction. And that's what makes people like Mark Zuckerberg successful, Bill Gates successful. With Bill Gates, when IBM was like, "Oh, this DOS program crap, yeah, you can buy that, and not a big deal, right?" And then that DOS program turned into one of the major operating systems, and then subsequently, he kind of stole, from what I understand it, the Windows platform from the Apple guy. But the bottom line is that, moving contrary to what you think and believe currently. So I have the definition up for those of you who are online of being a contrarian. And so the first thing it says is a person who opposes or rejects popular opinion, especially in stock exchange dealings. That it's important, right? Because we want to not be people in our dealings. And we can apply this thought process, this principle, to every aspect of our life. And another thing that I think is important is to also look at, what an entrepreneur is, because an entrepreneur and a contrarian are basically the same thing. And then that's kind of tricky, right? It's an entrepreneur and a contrarian are basically the same. So as a contrarian, one of the things that I find with a lot of the people that I deal with is that we are constantly thinking about how we are so much like everybody else, how, we're just another person, we're just this, we're just that. So I was doing some research online over the weekend, specifically for this call, because I think it's important, it's imperative for everyone to understand how unique, how awesome you are. And so one of the things I looked up is, what is the likelihood of you being born, period? What is the likelihood of you being born? And being born, right, to be born, it is a 1 in 400 trillion chance of you being born. 1 in 400 trillion. That means you could win the Powerball multiples of millions of times at its highest height before you would have the opportunity to be born, right? So one scientific group said that basically, your chances of being born are 0, which means that as opposed to, doing some long digited thing where they go, 0 point something, 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 something. They just said you're zero. So there are so many factors that you have to consider. Realistically, so if your parents had never met, then what was your likelihood of being born? What was the likelihood of you being born? If your parents died, didn't have any kids, right? Then what's it like? And people are dying every day. If back in the 10,000 years ago, if your parents had got a scratch and died from a crazy infection, which nowadays means absolutely nothing. So I mean, there's like all these factors, and they get all the way down to that one semen hitting that egg properly and getting. I mean, it's just like 1 in 400 trillion chance of being born. Crazy, right? 1 in 400 trillion. I mean, for me, that's just it amazes me because it just tells me how unique and how awesome I am as a human being. And I would like to think that it tells you how awesome you are as a human being. 1 in 400 trillion opportunity of being born. And it's just, it's like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs to me. So this call and this series is all about being a contrarian, because as entrepreneurs, as people that are about, developing ourselves so we can get our money in, to achieve some level of prosperity, some level of financial success or wealth, it comes down to understanding who you are, as well as, going out and making it pop, making it happen. Because the bottom line is, if you don't know or you don't understand that you are so much greater than you've given yourself credit for, then everything else is bullshit. It doesn't really matter. You won't have the mindset, in my opinion, to go out and to push against the envelope, push against the walls necessary to create success, to create a better, greater you, right? It has to be that way. You have to know that you're the shit. You have to know that you're just that bomb ass person that's able to manifest something in your mind, create that thought, and then go out and create an actionable plan, right? That you are going to attack. It is without saying that if you don't think of yourself as much of anything, then it is going to be very difficult for you to make it happen. And that's why, more and more I'm cutting off the nonsense. The news that I watch is very little, because it's becoming, less and less, because I just don't need all that garbage in my head, right? I find that it creates a certain level of fear in me, actually, and I don't need any of that crap. I was watching videos on YouTube, and you see all these cops doing all this bad stuff, and then you start getting that in your head, and it's just like, God, dog, you're not even safe from the cops nowadays. So I've had to cut back on all of that stuff and start filling my brain with things that are empowering, right? So that's what is going to make the difference in my existence and in yours. So like last week, for those of you who were on the call last week, I know, I gave away like all my good shit, all the stuff that I make money on. I gave it away, just to the people that were on the call and that text me, send me your stuff, right? I just literally gave all that stuff away, the things that I'm currently utilizing to make money, because for me, it was kind of like jumping over, a huge hurdle for me to understand that it's imperative, it's important for me to step beyond, um, oh my God, I'm creating more competition for myself. Oh my, because it doesn't matter, how much competition is out there. What matters is what Pascal does, period. It doesn't matter how many people have the same information that I do, because the information that I have, quite honestly, is on the World Wide Web. You can Google it, Bing it, Yahoo it, whatever search engine you're using, and it's there. It doesn't matter if you're buying, pick a person, really. Any person you can think of that's supposedly a guru in some fashion or form, they have tens of hundreds, if not tens of thousands, of people buying their stuff, just depending on what level they're at. And the thing is, all of that information that they're selling literally is available to you if you do the research for it, right? So if you want to get into, there's this place close to us called Robinson's Pharmaceutical. And so when my wife goes to work in the morning, they're expanding like crazy. And so what they do is they will create nutritional products for you. So they already have all this stuff put together, and then you can basically label it your own, right? So and they're right here, so and they're growing. They have this huge manufacturer, and now they bought another building, which is this big old building, redid the whole building, and now they're using that. Now they bought this huge other lot, and they just built a whole brand new building from scratch. And so they're growing leaps and bounds. And so what I'm believing is that if they're growing like that, 3 huge complexes in one little area, then obviously, because they don't do pharmaceuticals necessarily, they do health and nutrition products, right? And they do it so that you can label it yourself, as I just mentioned. But the point is that it is all about thinking outside of the box with some place like Robinson's Nutrition, that sells vitamins and minerals. They're right there. If somebody wanted to say, oh, I want to get into the hemp oil business, to CBD oil. It's right there. You know what I mean? It's not like you have to go through somebody else. You can, go online, find places like Robinson Pharmaceutical, and you can create yourself. You don't have to, like somebody had sent me, and it's not a bad look, right? I'm not knocking anybody's get down, but what I'm saying is that somebody had sent me something, and I was like, okay, cool. But then, when I started doing a little research, and I was like, oh man, there's all these places, that will allow you to label your own CBD oil. There's all these places, and so if I'm going to go out there and sell something, then I want it to be my own thing so I can maximize all the profit. Now, I don't mind somebody else selling my stuff, but I want to sell so I can maximize my profit from the gate, as opposed to, because you guys got to remember, even if you're selling Amway or whatever it is, granted they have a name already, but if you're the one out there selling and you believe in your product, then why not sell something with your name on it? Because if you believe in your product, right, then sell your own stuff. Create your own stuff. In most of these instances, since these manufacturers already have, all that stuff put together, you won't even have to purchase the product until after you're ready to sell. You just give people a runtime. You just say, okay, well, it'll be shipped to you in a week. You know what I'm saying? It's like your cost factor is really not that great, especially in these days and times, right? So running contrary to what the populace is doing. That is really what it's all about in our growth, in our development. Is literally changing, our mental state. It's just, I've done some more research. I was listening to this guy, Dr. Joe Dispenza, and I really like his information. And so what he was saying is that there's like 60 to 70,000. We have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. And 90 to 95% of those thoughts are the exact same thoughts that we had the day before, and the day before that, and the day before that, and the day before that. Because what we have done is we have taken incidents that have happened in our existence, happened in our life, whether it's when you're 2 or 20, right? And we have allowed those things to become a part of our hardware. So once we've allowed it to become part of our hardware, then we act and react in the same fashion as we did 20 years ago. There's no growth. And, and so if there's no growth, if there's no change, and we're still acting as if we did to a situation 20 years ago because of some sort of emotional distress we had when we were 2 or 20 or 30 or whatever the case may be, then we have not grown, we have not changed, and it becomes harder for us to succeed, right? So it becomes harder for us to live and be all those things that we want to become. That's why, the people that tend to do best are readers. And the reason being is because a reader by nature is a contrarian. A reader is constantly taking in new information, and that new information is allowing them to move differently, to change their programming, to move swifter, right? Because they have a knowledge base that the vast majority of people do not have, because they're constantly reading, they're constantly developing themselves, which starts to change their programming. And as it changes their programming, then instead of having 90 to 95% of the same thoughts that you had, it decreases, right? So you start having maybe 80% of the thoughts that you had yesterday, the day before that, and the day before that, and the day before that. Do you see the importance of that? Is you have to grow. You have to grow to create wealth. You have to grow to create anything worthwhile having. And if we're acting the same as we always do, then you're going to, like the old cliche saying, if you do what you've always done, you're going to get the same results. And the reason that cliche works is because it is a true fact, is that we operate constantly and continuously in the same manner that we've done for the last 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. We act in the same exact freaking way. And you can't expect to get something different if you're doing the same exact thing that you've always done. Right? If you go, oh my God, you know what? I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna go to work. At work, I know, Phil's gonna piss me off. I know that, at the end of the day, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna gas up my car. I'm gonna come home. I'm gonna have my dinner. I'm gonna watch some TV. I'm just gonna, chill out and be upset about the stuff that happened during the course of the day and blah blah blah. And it's just like, okay, so somewhere in there, I'm not talking about minor changes like, instead of going to coming home and making dinner, you go to KFC or or I don't know, pick a place and buy dinner and bring it home. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about, minor changes where instead of coming home and having dinner, you actually go sit down at the Olive Garden and have dinner, or P.F. Chang's or something. I'm not talking about those kind of changes. I'm talking about, major twists, major changes, completely out of your norm. Like when you say, I'm going to come home, I'm going to have dinner, and instead of turning on the TV every day for an hour, I don't care if I'm the slowest reader in the world, I'm going to read a page out of a book that is about empowerment and or creating prosperity in my existence, right? Those changes have to happen. That is a huge shift, because you're always going to have those minor changes, but those changes of education, those changes where you come home and you say, I'm gonna meditate, I'm gonna learn how to meditate, I'm gonna train myself in the art of meditation so I can quiet my mind, think through my process and my flow and whatever it is I'm trying to accomplish, and make some good shit happen in my life, right? So that's the lick. That's what we should be aspiring to. We should be aspiring to, literally creating a whole new you. And part of that whole new you, just like I'm working on creating a whole new me, so that I can create and get the monies that I want, so that I can have the lifestyle that I want, so that I can get and have the level of health and fitness that I want, so that I can get and have the level of mental acuity that I want, and none of this shit is going to happen, just by me going, I'd really like to have some extra money in my hand. I'd really like to, to be healthier. This shit doesn't work. If there's no action, if there's no change in what you do, if there's not a shift in what you do, you can just forget it. It's just not going to happen. I mean, of course, there's luck, right? You could, like a lot of people have had, you could go to your local 7-Eleven or whatever, a grocery store or a liquor store, and you can buy a lottery ticket and you can win the lottery. Of course that happens. It's no question about that. It does happen, but it's a, I don't know, a 1 in several hundred million chance, or whatever the numbers are, to being able to do that. But one thing that we do know positively is that if you start making a change, start having a shift in the way you do things, pushing out some of your old programming and developing your new programming, we know for a fact that you have the ability to create something new in your existence, and stuff isn't always going to work out. But as you're creating this new you, as you're creating this better you, even if something falls apart and it doesn't work out the way you want it to, not a big deal, because you will have what you need within you to go out and create again and again, even knowing that your initial game plan, as we've talked about in the past, even knowing that your initial game plan might not be the game plan that you need, right? But you have to start somewhere. Bottom line, you have to start somewhere and understand that, what? That initial game plan is just that. It's just an initial game plan. It is just a plan that it's just your starting point, I guess, is the easiest way to say. Hold on one second. Testing 1, 2. What I want to make sure that you guys get this from this call is A, that it is time for us to shift. B, and very important, is that if you want help in that shift, right? Let's chat. We can do that. Because it's all about the group. It's all about Power Monday Mastermind. It's all about us masterminding together in order for us to make good things happen. And it's just people don't seem to understand, because I have a lot of conversation with a lot of people, and one of the things that they say is, Pascal, why would you give away all that stuff that you gave away last week? It's like, people aren't going to appreciate it. People this, people that, And what I try to explain to people is, by me giving away that stuff, it actually elevated me. It actually made me stronger and better. Right? It's selfish. If you guys want to know the truth, it sounds like I'm just all about, oh my God, I'm just giving away so much stuff. I'm just gonna, help people do one thing or another. And that's actually the furthest thing from the truth. The truth is, when we have conversations, when I have these free conversations with people, it actually elevates me. It actually it builds me, because I'm learning from you as I'm trying to help you out. I actually literally learn from you, because I am Pascal Mansell. I am not you. So therefore, your life experiences, what you have been through and go through, is completely different than my life experiences and what I've been through and go through. And so that's where I come up. That's where I improve myself, is by hearing your story and hearing what you've done to improve or change, from where you're at to where you are now. Right? It's imperative that we all catch that. We're so stuck on this bullshit where we try to hold on to everything, and I just don't think that's the look. I personally don't believe it's the look. I think that, and some things you got to keep guarded, right? Like your time, because there's the time is I'm only going to have so much time on this earth, so I have to keep my time guarded, right? But the information, not necessarily. I want to have a certain lifestyle, so it's when I sell my time, or when I'm selling information that I've had to create, I want to be paid for that naturally. But here's where it kind of gets a little tricky, I guess, is that simultaneously, I have to be willing, in order to grow, I have to be willing to give away some of that most valuable commodity of mine, which is time. Because if I don't interact with other folks, if I don't give of myself, then I will never receive. That's an important thing to understand. If you don't give of yourself, then it's hard for you to receive. Period. So people believe that. People don't believe it. I really don't care. I'm saying what works for me. So last week, after our phone call, so our phone call was the 29th, and so between the 29th and the 31st, I billed out over $20,000 in consulting. Okay, and the deal was that I ended up having to cancel. There's like $17,000 in invoices, PayPal invoices. I canceled them because as I was talking to Joy, right, who I work with, I'm not chasing anybody. If someone doesn't grasp or understand what they're getting for their $5,000 or $6,000 that they're spending with me, I'm not going to chase them. I could care less, because obviously for them to even ask me to bill them, I'm doing something right. So now I just have to tweak it so that I'm so that people, that those three people that didn't pay and I canceled their invoices. Now I just got to tweak it so that I understand more of what they were looking for or needed, and why they did not pay their invoices. Because all they had to do was pay partial. One person was paying the full invoice, which was $5,000, and the other two were going to make payments, which would be $6,000 total if they paid out the whole thing. They're going to make payments of down payments of $2,000 apiece, and then payments every month on the rest. But the point is that I canceled those invoices because I understand somebody's making a lot of noise. Stop, please. I understand that my value is great, right? And I also understand, more importantly, that there is a reason that they were prepared and then didn't move forward. And whatever that reason is, that's their reasoning, And the reason I'm so comfortable with me canceling, like my wife was like, "Why would you cancel out those invoices?" And then what I was explaining to her is because it's just not for me then, right? And if they want, they'll come back. But by me giving out my time and having conversation with those people, even though I didn't get their money, it has helped me understand, right? This is, a lot of people won't catch this, but it has helped me understand what they were looking for initially to even get them to have me invoice them. Does that make sense? I mean, I might not be explaining that well, but, for someone to say, "You know what, Pascal, I like what you're talking about. I'm ready to move forward. Invoice me, please." Right? Go ahead and invoice me. I'll get it taken care of in the next day or so. Right? I'm going to give you that $2,000 down, or in the case of the one person, I'm going to pay you the whole $5,000 up front. Right? So by me giving of myself, giving my time, right, my most valuable commodity, my most valuable asset, I was able to learn from those three people. Now I had a fourth person, and he actually put the down payment, and he actually moved forward, right? So that's why it was over 20. What was it? Like the total billing is like, what was that? 80, 90, 20, 23 or 24,000 total billing. Out of the four people, one person made his down payment on two different programs he was purchasing from us, and the other three, they didn't pay, so I canceled them. But my overall point is that if I had not given up my time to these people and had, multiple conversations, learning from them, trying to, see what they needed from me and seeing how I could provide that to them, right? And then I would not have been able to build those amounts of money to begin with. I know unfortunately, I don't feel like I'm explaining this well to you all, but hopefully I am, and hopefully you're catching it, I mean to say. It is so important that you give up some of your most valuable commodity. It is moving contrary. I understand you're moving contrary to what people would normally say you should be doing, right? Giving up your time for free and all that kind of stuff. People don't understand it. People don't tend to get it. But it is imperative, in my opinion, to move differently than the other folks will. It is imperative to do it. Because how do you even know what your people want, what your client base wants from you, unless you give of yourself? It just doesn't work any other way that I can see. People are so closed off. Oh, I can't give away this for free. I can't do this. I can't do that. And I kind of find it to be the opposite of that thought process, of that feeling, where you're so stuck on, trying to keep everything so close to your vest, or so close to your chest, vest, whatever you want to say, that you don't bring in your for lack of another way of saying it, you don't bring in your blessings. You do not allow you do not allow for other people to even come to you with whatever issues, problems, that they may have that you can possibly solve for them. So that is the key behind being a contrarian, in my opinion. It just, it's all about taking that risk. So I pulled up the definition for entrepreneur, because for those of you who are actually online, and it's there for you to see it, but an entrepreneur, a person who organizes, and this is very important, y'all, so I'm going to do it really slow, a person who organizes and operates a business or businesses, taking on greater than normal financial risk in order to do so. Do we catch that? A person who organizes and operates a business or businesses taking on greater than normal financial risks in order to do so. If that's not a contrarian, I don't know what is, right? Because you're moving opposite than other folks will. You're going in a different direction. So an entrepreneur, you're a risk taker. Most people are not a risk taker. Most people are satisfied with whatever is laid out in front of them. As an entrepreneur, you can't afford to do that. As an entrepreneur, you have to be willing to put yourself out there and your finances. And if you're not willing to do that, then you're not a true entrepreneur. You just have a hobby. Get it? Because there's a lot of people who have a hobby and call it a business. But if you're not making money at it, and if you're not taking chances to make it grow, then it's a hobby. It's not a business. So either you're a hobbyist or you're an entrepreneur. I'm not saying you got to be out there and be stupid, but I'm saying you got to be out there doing something. You got to be out there taking risks. You got to be out there moving opposite than everybody else. That's what an entrepreneur is. That's what a contrarian is. It's like crazy amazing to me. And getting back to those people I had to cancel their invoice, I let their invoices ride for almost a week. Some of them, two of them I talked to on several occasions, and they're like, "Oh, Pascal, I'm with it. I'm with it. Oh, I'm with it. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that." Excuse me. And then all of a sudden, days went by, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, they tell me they're with it. They tell me they're going to break bread. They tell me they're going to, shoot some money my way. But I'm not going to keep on waiting for them. So when I cancel their invoice, I put a little notation with it, just saying, hey, whenever you're ready, I'm here for you. Right? And that does a couple of different things in my mind anyway. It says to them, it says, hey, I'm not just canceling this invoice. I'm just, canceling it for now. But when you're ready, well, basically what I put in the note. But when you're ready, I'm here. I'm here. I still want to work with you. I still want to help you. I'm here for you. I just can't leave these invoices just, dangling out here forever. And so for the people that are for real, the ones that are serious, then they're going to jump on and they're going to make it, you know what I'm saying? They're going to go, oh shit, he canceled my invoice. So I'm going to get with him, and the ones that aren't serious or weren't serious to begin with, then it's just be a cancel invoice. But either way, I feel like I win. right? Either way, I feel like I win. And I will continue, every time somebody talks to me and I can glean from them or learn from them what they're looking for, how I can help them, it's going to make me better. And then I'm going to start getting more people that aren't going to just say, send me an invoice, Pascal, I'm ready for it. And they're going to be like, send me an invoice, Pascal, I'm ready for it. And then boom, they're going to pay for it, right? They're going to, drop some money on a brother. And that's, but that's going to come from me doing this. That's going to come from me having conversations with people, whether I'm sending them an invoice or not, whether, that comes from me talking to you, from you, hitting me up and going, Pascal, I got a couple of questions for you, because that helps me learn what my people, right, the people I deal with, the ones I talk to, the ones that take their valuable time, come on these calls and listen to me, ramble on about stuff, it helps me learn what you're looking for, right? And then I decide whether or not I can offer a solution to your problem. That's what it's all about. I decide from conversations with you if I can find a solution to your problem. So, for a lot of people, they go, dude, you give up so much information. But you know what? Screw that information, right? Because if it helps you out, if you're able to grow from it and prosper from it, please, does my heart good. Does my heart good, right? It does. It makes me feel better about me, quite honestly. Period. It just does. It makes me feel good. And if I'm able to verbalize something that also helps you, makes me feel awesome. I don't feel like I'm losing anything. But I will say this to you. By me giving away my time, my information, I don't do it like give away the information all the time, but I give away my time on conversations regularly. And by me doing that, and by me having that conversation, I'm telling you, it is the reason why I even felt confident enough to bill somebody $5,000 and $6,000 for coaching from me in the first place. I'm telling you all, I would not have had the confidence necessary to even feel like I could bill somebody that amount of money and feel secure that I know that I'm worth every dime of that money and more, is without having that conversation. So what I'm saying to you all on this call is, you got to shift. You got to shift. That the same old thing is not working, obviously, right? It's not working. So you got to shift. You got to put yourself in a position of being uncomfortable. Period. You have to put yourself in a position of being uncomfortable, because you are not making major changes in your existence and who you are and what you're about if you are not feeling uncomfortable. Because I don't give a shit what it is. If it's the first time you learn how to drive, the first time you rode a bike, the first time you made love to your girl or to your guy, you're crazy uncomfortable, and then that's when you know some stuff is right. That's when you know it's a new learning experience. You know that you're growing, you're developing yourself in a whole new way. I mean, it's crazy, but that level of uncomfortableness is going to tell you that you're doing some big stuff. It's going to tell you that you are not riding in that 90 to 95% of the same bullshit that you've been doing for the last, 5, 10, 15, 25, 30 years. It's that you're making that change. And that's why, I do what I do. That's why I'm flipping the script on the way I do things. I've always poured into people. I've always given up a bunch, but now I'm pouring into people even more because I'm listening very, very closely to the feedback I get. And so I'm not just pouring into people, but I'm actually getting something in return, which tells me that I have value It tells me that I have the ability to do bigger and better things. And I'm telling you all, each and every one of you on this call have value and have the ability to do big things. You have the ability to live and be whoever in the hell it is that you want to be, and however it is that you want to live. Whatever level of health, prosperity, mental wellness, all that bullshit. You have the capability of having all of that and then some, because we all do. I already told you guys what the statistics were for you even being alive and who you are right here, right now on this planet. 1 in 400 trillion. That's just like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, man. That's crazy. 1 in 400 trillion chance of you being here. One of the people that when I was researching that online, what is the likelihood of us even being born? One of the people said that it's like you take a sea turtle and you place them in an ocean, just one ocean, right? All out there by itself. And then you take a life preserver and you place it in another ocean, tens of thousands of miles away. And the likelihood of you being born is the same likelihood that sea turtle is going to find that little life preserver and stick its head through the hole in the life preserver. I mean, that was their analogy. I think it's an awesome analogy. That's the chances of you being born. Sea turtle, huge ocean, life preserver in another ocean, and that sea turtle finding that life preserver, sticking its head through the little hole. And so if we have crushed those odds, 1 in 400 trillion, dude, all this other stuff, not that serious. Not that serious, in my opinion. So stop being afraid, right? Start putting yourself out there. Start getting so that you feel uncomfortable. That you feel like, oh my God, I'm doing this, whatever it is that your business, your desire is. Start feeling uncomfortable about it. Start moving so that you're moving opposite from what you've been doing that you believe is going to benefit or grow you. Period. Start doing that. So let me an entrepreneur, right? I just read that, but I love this crap so much. It's just a person taking on greater than normal financial risk in order to do so, in order to create a business or businesses, right? And we already went through the contrarian thing. You guys, I'm just saying, if you're like, I started I started this multiple times, and then I stopped, and then I started again. But what I'm doing is I'm back to telling myself every night I gotta read a minimum of a page. If I read 10, 15 pages, great. But I'm not going to let a night pass that I lay my head on that pillow that I don't read at least a page of something that is going to benefit and grow me. And I'm not a fast reader. I'm a slow reader, quite honestly. And so it's just imperative, you guys, that you start just making some changes. Does anybody have anything that they want to say or add or whatever the case may be before we're getting close to the end here? Hold on one second. Let's see here. The same trade up. Okay. Alan says. Basically, I think he's asking. He says, so you are saying that the same trait of birth and the rarity is within us to do and be who we want. Absolutely, Alan. I'm saying that. I'm saying that if we can make those odds 1 in 400 trillion, then there's nothing that we can't accomplish, right? I mean, we've hit the jackpot just by being born. And I don't even think it matters where you're being born, where in the world. Obviously, there are some places that make it, easier for us to succeed, like being born here in the United States or Europe or basically being born in any country that hasn't been decimated by profiteers, right? So absolutely, we have won the lottery, and from that point forward, anything that we so desire, I think is within us. I would like for you guys to very much go online and go to YouTube and start listening to, personal development, business development, different things. I mean, and the magic is, there are so many freaking podcasts that you can find on YouTube, right? And it will help start changing your mind. I don't give a shit if you're listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza, which I recommend. Braden, I can't think of his first name, but he's also good. And the oldie but goodie for me is Reverend Ike. I mean, they're short videos, but for those of you who have a religious leaning, he talks about, he utilizes the Bible basically to equate it to your right of prosperity, right? Now, Greg Braden and Dr. Joe Dispenza, theirs is all about, it's not a religious thing in any fashion or form. It's more about just the capability of your mindset. Then there's also, there are some lessons in there. They're old, but you can find these lectures by Napoleon Hill. It's 1 through 9, and it is what is the let me think here for a hot second, you guys, or let me try to pull it up on my phone real quick. And I'm taking this time out because I think it's worth it. So let me see if I can find it. So, okay, so you can watch, if you go to YouTube, you can watch, it says watch Napoleon Hill, Rare Lectures, Part 1, and then it'll have in parentheses 1 through 9, and then you can find each one, that way. But it says watch rare recordings of Napoleon Hill, and it'll have 1, watch rare recordings of Napoleon Hill 2, so on and so forth. And they're really, really good to me. They're very interesting, and I think it would help you expand your horizons. And also, I think that it will help you change your mental picture of yourself, right? To help you start understanding that you are so much more, so much greater, so much of everything than what you have given yourself credit for. I am nowhere near, I want to put this out there. I am nowhere near where I want to be nor should be financially, right? I don't want to ever give you guys the impression or that I'm faking the funk out here. I'm trying to act like I'm killing the game. I'm doing all this stuff because I'm not there yet, right? But I'm working towards that end, right? I might be a little further than some of you all, but you could catch up in no time, right? And you can surpass me, because my race is not your race. Your race is your own race. And, as my race is my race. And so I'm not in competition with you nor anybody else. I'm in competition literally with Pascal Mansell. My objectives, my goals, my dreams, my wants, my desires are all about, giving me the life that I so desire, so then I can subsequently provide and give my family the life that they want and so desire. I mean, obviously they're going to have to, do their own thing, but I want to be able to leave a legacy for them. So, unless someone else has something they want to add in the chat or what have you, we're going to wrap this up. And I do apologize for the glitch in the call earlier, but you guys, this series, so we just ended the series about moving mountains. We're moving into, being contrarian, acting, and moving differently, because I'm telling you, everybody that I've ever seen come up is because they flipped the script and started doing things in a different way than they were doing. And I don't care, what part of their existence they did it in. It always seems to be that same thing. They're running down one road, and then they just said, oh, you know what, I can't do this anymore. Things got really bad or desperate, and they were just like, I can't do this. I got to do something else. I got to make a change. Even if it's changing jobs, they flipped the script, and that's what made the difference. But what I'm trying to tell you something greater than just changing a job, which is, I don't want to take away from that, because that's actually a very good thing, a very powerful thing, is to, going back to school is very powerful. Getting a better job for yourself, very powerful. And I don't want to ever diminish that. But what I'm saying is, for those of you, and just like myself, that want so much greater than that, right? I don't want to diminish anybody, but there are greater things out there than that. I'm saying that it is available to us. It is there for us, and when we are born to have it. But it just has to be something that you desire, and it has to be that you are willing to become a contrarian. You have to be willing to change and move in the opposite direction than you have been, than the crowd, in order to create your success. Anyone want to add anything before we call it a day? Checking the chat box.
I would love to say happy Monday. Hello.
Okay, well, happy Monday to you too.
How are you? Good morning.
Awesome. Good morning.
Awesome chat today, as always. The only comment I have is compliments.
Oh, shoot. Go ahead. Don't stop. You don't see. You got.
I was on mute going, yes. It was muted, so you couldn't hear that part. So, yes. That's my feedback.
On that one. Snapping the fingers.
Huh?
I said, I'm snapping my fingers on that one. Brother's getting compliments, so I'm snapping fingers. But it's a good look. I'm glad that you're receiving something from this.
Absolutely. I believe everyone would have to receive something from this. Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Great job.
So you know what? That's a good thing that you said that, because now you can come on and do a great job yourself.
Okay, I'm going back to mute.
That is you, boy. Well, I just got a message from Alan, and it says, "Thanks a bunch, P. I think she can too." Oh my God, Alan just said he thinks you can too.
He said what?
Alan says, "Thanks a bunch, P. I think she can too," meaning you. So you can come on and Alan doesn't even know you. And he's saying that he knows you can come on and do it. And so what I'm going to say to Alan is, you know what, Alan? I don't know anything about you, sir, but I know that you have a story of your own. And if you want to come on and share your story, your ups, your downs, your ins and outs, I think it would be very empowering to people. And that goes for everybody on this call. I can't stress this enough. It is not about Pascal. at all. It is about us and our journey, right? Developing one another. So, Alan, you need to give me a call, 951-515-4728. That is my direct line. Everybody calls me out. My clients, my mama, my son, my wife, my dog, my cat. Everybody calls me on that line. So it's not like I'm just giving you some BS number. That is my number for the last 20 some odd years. Alan, 951-515-4728. Call me up, let's talk. And Alan's saying, LOL, I got you. Nah, bro, you need to LOL, call me up and share your story, just like the young lady that you just heard. She's going to come on and share her story, because it's imperative that we, as I was mentioning earlier, that we start, that we glean from one another, right? That's what helps me grow. I'm telling you guys, that's what has given me the confidence to bill people $5,000 and $6,000. And if you want to know the truth, by the end of next year, I will be billing people $10,000 for my services, because I think they're that valuable. But you start where you're at, right? So it's empowering for me to come on here and run my mouth, and I think it will be empowering for you all, Talandra, to come on here and run your mouths. It'll help you grow.
Yeah.
Okay, so please, anybody who wants to give me a holler, call me. I give out my number all the time. I'm easy to find, Talandra, and you guys can call me up. We can chop it up. We can, benefit each other. So
yes, I have your number on speed dial.
Yes, that's a good look. That's a good look. Now you need to have the caller number on speed dial. You and Alan, since Alan wanted to jump in and say you could do it, and I know he can do it as well. So it's all gravy. Thank you guys very much for coming on. I'm sorry. I want to mention one thing. I bought there's a lady that I buy her stuff periodically, and I bought a list from her. She likes to send things in the mail. Why, I don't know. But I bought a list of hard money lenders, soft money lenders, so on and so forth, from her, that her hard money lender has been utilizing this list for, a decade plus, right? And so he's retiring out. According to her, he's made like $100 million, and as a real estate investor, and he's done. He wants to live his life out. So I can't give you guys the information. I won't give you guys that information because it's not mine to give away. But if you all want to share in the cost of that information, then I'm not. In other words, because I'm not giving it to you, so therefore I can't get in trouble. But if you guys or have co-bought it with me, if that makes sense, then I can share it with you because you've actually co-bought it with me. So it cost me $450 to buy this list, and anybody interested, you can help me pay, get my little $450 back and sharing that list of information from me. So she's sending it by mail. Once again, I don't know why. Everybody else downloads stuff, but if you're interested, you guys got my number. We'll talk soon. Thank you guys so much for coming on the call. It's always awesome. And let's see, Alan, one more thing. Let's see, tell me what this is. Oh, so basically, this is for people that are interested in real estate. So it is a list of hard money lenders, as well as soft money lenders, and lenders that are, will give you rehab money, lenders that will give you down payment money for both commercial and residential. And as you know, a lot of the hard money lenders, it's not about your credit at all. It has everything to do with the deal. Okay, so your personal credit can be nothing, and it's literally if the deal is right, if the numbers make sense to them, then they will invest their money. So that's what makes a good list of hard money lenders. And also, some of them will come in and they will give you purchase money, rehab money. They'll give you all of that, and then they're going to take a chunk of money away from you. But my thought process is always, if you have access to the capital in order to buy these properties, in order to even if you were to walk away with, I don't know, after all the rehab is done, after all the work is done, and you were able to buy a 20-unit building or something, or even a fourplex, or even a single-family home, but you're able to walk away with a profit at the end of the day without utilizing any of your own capital, if your numbers are right, I mean, what are you complaining about? So obviously every deal is going to be different, but if you can get the right numbers for what these lenders are looking for, they don't give a crap about your personal credit. So that's why I bought the list from her. I've over the, I don't know however many years, a lot of years, I've been buying stuff from her. Because she always has something interesting to sell. She herself is a real estate investor, and she's been in the game for a long time, and she's also a marketer. So she's a real estate investor and a marketer. She puts on seminars, does the whole 9 yards, and so I felt this would be a good list to have. For not just myself, but also like my clients, my $5,000 clients, I will give this to them for free because they're already paying me so much money. But for anybody else, you have to share in my cost of purchasing it. So in order for me to share it with you, or and give you the list or what have you. So anyways, y'all. Thank you. Any other questions, anybody? Let me see if there's anything else in the chat before I get off the phone. All right, that looks like it. We had Alan had the last comment in the chat. So thank you guys so very much, and all the people that came on the call and are quiet as usual. It's all gravy. We'll talk to you guys. Thank you. And I'll be starting a podcast very soon, and I'll let you guys know about the podcast because it'll be a daily get down, a daily thing. I got to stop saying get down. I say it too much. So it'll be a daily thing. So thank you guys, and believe me, I appreciate you guys so very much. You guys help me grow so much, and it's just it's a really amazing experience for me. So thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.